Hi folks, today we'll try and build this sound. Okay, let's go. So, secret to an organic string pad, realistic sounding one are the comb filters in Zebra, and the comb filters in Zebra 3 are, in my opinion, better. I think they are more musical, they are more controllable, I feel like. Okay, so let's start with the comb. To use a comb, I would start with the noise, and I'm going to set it to static. Oh, thank God for these new noise types, they're fantastic. Okay, now sounds like this. Okay, and typically a pad would have a slow attack and then a slow release. Now we will send it to a comb filter. Okay, nothing happens until you set the feedback. See? Okay, very sharp. So you set it like that. Okay, we can use filters to take off that edge later, right? So, but this is kind of the starting point where I want this to be. One thing to do with the string sounds is to add in a little bit of pitch variation in the oscillator or the generator itself. The way to do it is I would use an LFO, pick whip it to detune because I don't want it to be too much, right? I'll use the random ramp here, and I don't want it to sync it to a BPM. So let's also see what this modulation is doing, right? So you can see that that's kind of the randomness that's bringing in. I really don't. I want it to be faster, right? It's more like, what I'm trying to do is to have a group of people playing strings, and there's going to be a lot of variations of right, more like a vibrato speed. I think that's good. So give it. Yeah, that's as far as I would go. Now, if you do too much, it sounds awful. Right. So I want. I could go a little faster. That's it. So that's what I want to do in this comb filter. You can actually take the edge off a little bit. What I'm doing is applying a low pass to the static noise. Okay, that's good. To really bring the string sounds out, you need to have some global effects. Okay, I'm going to do, sorry, not a compressor. I'm going to use mod effects. Okay, a little bit of diffusion. That's what this gives. Not too much. I've also seen that mod effects actually introduce a little bit of static noise in there. I don't know if you can hear it, but I can. So not a lot. I'll use the shape, slow speed. Already sounding better. Dry, some diffusion, right? And favorite thing to do is to add a reverb. That's good. Okay, let's get out of the chord mode. Already has a string quality to it now, right? There are many ways to go from here. You could do, I don't know, tweak the filters and stuff, and give it slightly different timbre. So okay, there are many filters that you can try. I'm just gonna do a basic 6 dB linear filter. I don't want any resonance in it, but again, experiment and see what happens, right? You'll be able to make so many sounds from this technique that I am using. Okay. The next thing I would like to do is actually fatten this up a little bit. The first thing I would do is increase the width. Right? You can also increase this. Already the sound kind of widens up. The second thing you could do is double it. So I'm going to mute this for now. I want to do almost exactly the same. Add a noise. Add another comb, right? And this time I think I will use pink noise. It actually comb filters respond to the input, right? And then you should think of it like it's exciting, that comb filter, and the pink noise seemed to bring out a little bit more warmth, a little bit more of body and low end to it. So let's see what happens here. Okay, increase the feedback. I will use complex 4 here, right? Muted the first channel. Okay, and here I'm going to do exactly the same technique I did before, right? Have a little bit of widening. A little bit of that detuning. That helps. Increase the width. Dampen it a little bit. That's pretty good. Okay, now let's see what they sound together. To control the second comb filter, I will add another filter here and maybe just slightly apply a cutoff. I don't want to do too much, but this also gives you a playground just to, fine tune this lane. We're going to add a global filter and also another mixing filter here to kind of help this sound all be controlled through one. Okay. Next thing I want to do is, if you want to really widen it, you could do this. Hard pan them both. But then I'd like to do another. I'd do it another way, right? These things are panned already, right? They're pretty wide signal. So all I want to do is just mix them in. So add a mix panel here and then take the output. So lane 1, lane 2 get mixed through this module. Okay. Even here, I don't know if I should do pan. I can, but I just want them both in here, and then I can control the volume. So okay, what I'm feeling is that this comb filter kind of needs a little bit of different flavor. That's exactly what it is here, right? So the tone and flavor. So let's try this. Okay. Comb 2. I'm going to change it. So they don't sound exactly the same. Okay, they both sound slightly different, so it gives it, more intensity, feels like there's a lot more going on in there. And let's add a filter here. Now I can control both of these sounds with this filter. The thing with comb filter is, you know, it doesn't give you the full range of sounds exactly how you want. The lower notes will sound very metallic usually in these kind of scenarios. So what I want to do is to have the lower sounds have a cutoff, right? Something like this. But the higher sounds, I still want to maintain. I want to maintain the sharpness. So the way to do it is set it to, so your middle E is where you want the sound to be, right? And then this took me a while to understand how to exactly do that. The way to do it would be key, modulated with the key, the cutoff, and then I would set it to, yeah, around that. Usually, if it's in the middle, I set it to 64, but that's okay. What it does is now higher keys will still be bright, right? But lower keys will have a low pass. Okay, that's good. So you can kind of test your sound now with your chord pad. Not bad. Maybe a little too much cut off here. There's one more knob in the comb filter that can add a little bit more character to your sound, which is distort, right? Let's see how that sounds like. Okay, so I'm only producing now lane B. Okay, so I like that. Nice. I think it's still lacking some body, right? What I would like to do is to augment the sound with an oscillator first, right? So the oscillator, let's just see what the oscillator sounds like right now. It's just a sawtooth. I like to use this waveform, right? And not like this, but I want to smoothen it out. Okay, so apply a curve filter and keep it near the string territory, right? And then you would go in and maybe double it. The whole idea is to have a really wide string sound. I want to make it sound as big and beautiful as it can be, right? So if I play chords, very nice quality to it, but I think it's still lacking the low end. For that, we could add a FMO. Okay, it just starts with a single sine wave and provides a little bit of I'm running out of filters here, but I will still try to control this a little bit by how about this? Let's not have the filter. Instead, I'll use an EQ. An EQ with focus on the low end. I really don't want the high end, right? So there you go. Yeah, it's all very arbitrary here. I'm not fine tuning it. Okay, now let's see how they all sound together. I think that's all you have to do, but let me take it a little bit further and tell you what you could do. Go to the effects, right? And you can improve the sound, or you can even change the sound slightly by using a resonator. The way to do it is by using a resonator. EQ has two modes, spectral pan, and then there's resonator, right? Let me just bring in a, there you go, 5. Okay, the resonator here, okay? There are 5 resonator modes here. I really want to boost like the low end, and let's see what it sounds like. So the way to do it is I'm going to add the resonator to the second lane in the global effects panel and increase the volume. So let's turn off the main so you can hear what it sounds like. See that? So that's you can sit and tweak to your heart's content with the resonator to really see what kind of sound you would like. Again, there are no right ways or wrong ways about it. See what suits your sound. Okay, I'll bring my main sound again back. And add that to taste, not too much. Sometimes you want to now make this instrument a little bit more playable, right? And for that, I would like to add a filter here. I'm not going to worry about what kind it is. The default one is just fine. I will play with the cutoff, and usually I'll use a mod wheel. Okay, and then I'm going to start programming the mod wheel here. It'll increase the cutoff as it goes. Okay, let's see what it sounds like. Yeah, this way you can watch here what happens. There you go. I like that. Okay. Now, another thing you could do is you could also do another controller for the volume modulation and stuff. I'm not going to get into that, but there's another useful thing you can do to make the instrument play differently based on the intensity of your strike, which is the key velocity, right? So let's go back here. The way to do it is to modify the envelope. When I strike hard, I want a faster attack and also not that much of a release, right? It's shorter release. How would you do that? So assign the velocity to your attack and to your release. So the higher the attack, lower the higher the key strike velocity, the shorter the attack. And you don't want it to be 0. So here, let's see. So what you want is okay, the same thing here. That's all you have to do. Now, let's go to the perform, right, pad, or let's bring up chord pads here. Right, but if I play softly, okay. There are a few more things that can be done to sweeten the sound. A compressor comes in handy sometimes, right, to kind of boost the sound a little bit, right? So the way to do it is I would play the sound. See that little red coming in? That's where the compression is happening, right? So you kind of want to compress that top peak. That's all I'll have to do. Thing is, sometimes if there is a noise floor introduced anywhere else and you use a very high compressor, it'll boost your noise. You don't really want that. I think that's about it. You could do one more thing. 4 strikes. I want that initial pitch to be modulated a little bit. What I think is that when you do a strike, the pitch increases slightly for that instrument, right? So let's set that up. So the modulation, it's fairly simple thing to do. I would don't need all that, sorry. There you go. Okay, so set it up like that, curve it, and I'm going to apply this to both the comb pitches. This one and this one, okay? And I want the pitch to increase slightly. So let me exaggerate it to let you know what happens. Mute this for now. So you don't need that much, you need a very tiny bit. Sorry, what did I do? So don't want that. That's about it. Just add it to taste. Don't go too overboard here. So that sounds good. You could do that to the FMO and oscillator too. Do it as your homework. The other thing I like to do is bring in a little bit more movement in the sound, kind of like a bow, I would say, right? So what I want to do is use an LFO for that and apply it to some of these timbre changing knobs. I'll apply it to flavor. For simple mode, tone has no effect. But for complex 4 and the other one, both structure and tilt, but don't touch structure because it changes the pitch. I would set it to the tilt, okay? And in both cases, I want it to just go back and forth as, okay, here you go. So what I want to do is, okay, this is good. So it needs to be in seconds, and I want it to be as a triangle. So let's see through the scope what it looks like. Yeah, I have played with this before, that's why it's preset to this. So I want this kind of bow movement in there, right? For both oscillators, I'll set it to different rates so they don't like move in unison. Okay, I think for LFO2 we'll do the same again. That's about it. Play around with it. and I hope to see you next time. If you have ideas on what you want to cover, do let me know. I'll see what I can do and give it the best. Bye.